So welcome to the latest edition of Asian Persuasion MMA Podcast with myself, Leon Jennings, Akhilesh Gannavarapu, and our special guest today, Tony Basile. Tony, thank you for joining us.
No problem. Sorry, I hate to correct you on my name, but it's actually Basile.
Basile.
Basile, yes. Everybody says it wrong, but it's you pronounce the E at the end. But
so even Joe Rogan got it wrong on the UFC pay-per-view with JJ Aldrich.
And it's funny. Rose's first time she mentioned me on TV, she did it too. So I don't walk around like my gym's not named Tony Basile. You know, like I go by a lot of people in jiu-jitsu, they call the black belts professor. Yeah. So, you know, Professor Tony, you know, so not a lot of people hear my last name, but yeah. And then there's a famous guy, Tony Basile, that plays football or did. So, you know, it's spelled different. So anyways, close enough. I'll respond about it.
Well, John Anik got it wrong as well. I mean, he gave you a shout out and even said, I hope I got your name right.
Yeah. He did. Said it was nice to hear, but you know, players make coaches, so I've got some phenomenal athletes, and they make you look good. You know.
I'm going to come to that in a bit. Firstly, though, tell us how you got into BJJ in the first place.
Man, I was about 26 years old, and well, it goes a little further. I'll make it quick for you, though. I had a friend that was a 4-time state champ out of Colorado in wrestling. And he was a small guy, and he did a Hoyler seminar, Hoyler Gracie, and he came back and learned to choke. And his name was Joel Gilmore, and he could beat up anybody, and he would just take him down and choke him. And this is back in like 96, 97. So, you know, I knew of jiu-jitsu kind of then. My life kind of came to a standstill. I moved back to Colorado at 26, not knowing what to do really with my life, and took a white belt class at a place called Boulder Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the time, and you know, wasn't totally sold on it, and came back to do another one, and then, you know, I was hooked. Then I realized this is a lot of fun, and I could actually do this for a living. So I made it my goal, and my little brother really attests to it, my wife, you know, that I was going to open a gym and bring it back to my hometown, and I did that at white belt at 26. I'm going to be 42 in November, so. You know, I'm in Westminster. I was right down the street from my high school. So that was my original goal. Everything that's happened after that has been incredible, you know. So in 2010, I opened up the 303 Training Center. And at the time, there wasn't any black belts from Colorado really here at the time. So, you know, it was a special thing. And now it's just gone way, way more, you know, blessed than I could have thought of. You know, Dwayne Ludwig was out with me to start. That was the first guy out of there, you know, and it's just been name after name somehow wandering through there year after year, and it's just it's been really cool.
Right. And when you started, as you said, taking BJJ classes, at that point even mixed martial arts wasn't as big of a sport as it is now.
Right.
Did you kind of have trouble in finding a good gym where to go and practice jiu-jitsu? How did that come about for you?
Well, I got lucky. I mean, I went to Boulder. I was living about 45 minutes away from the gym that I went to. And the only reason that I went there is because they answered the phone at 11. My grandfather, who was a professional boxer, my family was all into boxing. Huge. So I wasn't really thinking grappling, but speed and reflex are the first thing to go. So I knew at 26, boxing is not something you should take up probably. But strength and your mind are the last thing to go. An old guy told me that. So I was like, that sounds right. So I wanted to start grappling. And there they answered the phone. So I was like, what gym doesn't? I kept calling jiu-jitsu gyms. Nobody answered the phone. So I made the drive, and they were good. And now they're known as Easton. At the time, it was a very big affiliation here in Colorado. At the time, they were called Boulder. And so when I went there, I was white belt. Eventually, I couldn't afford it anymore. It's too expensive. Jiu-jitsu is expensive. And so they let me clean. And in my brain, I had to tell myself that was a scholarship. And now I've got a scholarship for jiu-jitsu because I'm getting it free. And so I went to Boulder where people are going to real college. And in the meantime, I'm doing this. And people are kind of looking at me, you know, what are you doing? And next thing you know, I got an opportunity to manage it. I cut my pay in half to run the Easton schools out of Boulder and help their Denver school and open their South school. So it came to the point I was the only guy that had experience running multiple schools. And the school I was at happened to grow into the biggest school, you know, in Colorado. And this is about 2009. So anyways, I basically got offered, man, to open up anywhere I wanted to. I asked the gym, you know, if they would match it because I was doing all the work there at the time. And and they didn't want to match it. They let me go, which was a really hard decision, man. I mean, at the time I was a brown belt.
Yeah.
So I wasn't, nobody leaves their gym like that. But I had a few kids. I was on food stamps. It was getting to the point like I need to make this opportunity, and it was the best decision I ever made. I mean, looking back now, it's Rose knocked the girl out at 303. I mean, that right there was like, all right, I definitely, no matter what, was meant to be. I mean, you can guess that in a million years. You couldn't write that story, So it worked out to my benefit, and hopefully, we're on a roll right now, and hopefully it stays that way.
Right, and can you also briefly discuss about the 303 Training Center and how that idea came about and just where it is now, because it's been a wonderful journey so far.
It has, and it was tough, picking a name for it. At the time, I wanted to give it back to Denver. I didn't really want it to be, Tony Basile Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, who am I? I wasn't anybody, and I wanted to give this back to Colorado in particular. And so when I left, I didn't expect Dwayne to come with me. Dwayne Ludwig came with me, and I was coaching him as he was fighting. So my story goes a little further back when I was a purple. You remember Brendan Schaub fought Country Nelson on the show? Okay, so that was my start in MMA. Was that fight? Basically, on the show, Schaub from Colorado, right? He had to fight Big Country. And Big Country would take everyone down, put his belly on him, and beat him up. It was so like everyone hated it because they're like, this big fat guy's beating everybody up, and it doesn't look like martial arts. It does, but he's a Henzo black belt. He actually tapped Frank Mir at the time. But my lineage was through Henzo's too, so we had a lot of respect for him. So basically, I was a purple belt at the time. Been training, 6-7 years, maybe tops. And there's the fight school here, Grudge, where Trevor Whitman was at. So basically, Colorado grouped together and said, how are we going to get Schaub out from underneath this guy so he can knock him out? So at the time, we were like, we know this skinny purple belt. He's hard to hold down. So I went there and coached. It was like Rashad Evans was in the class, and Shane Carwin and Schaub, and who's who of guys at the time. And I think Rashad was the champion. And so, I went and rolled with these guys, and then I showed them this move that I do, this stupid move. I got this one uncanny thing that's hard to hold me aside control. You got it, it's just something I was like, it started here. So anyways, it's a stiff arm. People use it in jiu-jitsu a lot now in MMA. Around here they call it, so I show Schaub this move, and we drill it, and then he has to fight. Now mind you, I've showed this move to a lot of people. It never works for anybody. It just works for Schaub in this one fight. It's amazing. It works for me, but not for everyone else. So basically, Big Country gets him down, if you remember the fight. And Schaub tries to pummel. He can't get out. He tries to frame. He can't get out. And I'm yelling at my TV, man, stiff arm him. And Schaub does. He finally does the move, and it works perfect. He gets up. I mean, my phone blows up. I'm yelling, and then he gets knocked out like seconds later. And from then on, Big Country knocks everyone out. He never lays on anyone, So I think I helped Big Country is what I did. But in the end, he got up, and I realized, how could I have had an impact on this? That was amazing. From there, a few years later, I left. I had no one to train with at brown belt. So I went back to Grudge with Trevor and just started rolling with all the MMA guys to help for my journey to get my black belt, which I ended up getting in 2013. But I was a brown belt for almost 5 years, and it was great. I just go around grappling wrestlers and MMA guys and made a lot of great friends. And, we just had one of our fighters win the King of Sparta here out of the Pepsi Center. So, we went to Madison Square Garden, of course, and Barclay, then the Pepsi Center, then JJ just won at the Staples Center. So we would just be happy to be in all four of those, much less go 4-0 in all those and have a UFC belt. And it's been truly blessed. And two coaches of the year, mind you. Dwayne was 2013 coach of the year. He was 303 2012 coaching with us. So it was 1 year later coming out of 303, he's coach of the year. And so I've always been around super talented people. And then Trevor Whitman just got it this year. And, he's my, outside of Pat, my number one striking coach. And then you get to MMA and it's like offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator kind of thing. So I love working with great striking coaches, man. I've worked with some of the best, and I got two great ones right now.
How did your relationship with Pat Berry come about?
Well, his last UFC fight, I coached him, just barely, because he was, he was fighting that big New Zealander. I forget his name, Papao or Hulk. I forget his name.
Yeah.
And Pat, he's training, he's rolling with me, and we had a very good relationship right off the bat. And then when he lost that fight, he went for a Kimura, and he ended up getting mounted with his arm stuck underneath it. And it was great, man. He was mounted, and you see him, and he dodges a punch, and then he tries to knock him out with one arm. His one arm's pinned. He tries to knock him out. I was like, oh. And he almost got it. And then Popular Hulk just punched and knocked him out. And what was amazing about it is I'd coached Wayne and some other guys that had been affiliated with the UFC. But especially when you're not there, he had lost that fight. He called me from New Zealand, texted me just like, sorry, I didn't clear the shoulder, coach. Sorry. I'm like, oh, man. Clear the shoulder. These are monsters in the heavyweight division, He's trying to Kimura a monster, But that heart that he would even reach out, I was like, this is a good man, And when we came back, I had a lot in common with him. It's like knowing somebody that you knew already, We clicked instantly. And then through that, Rose was coming up. So she was a white belt at the time. And so I started working with her, because I was cornering fights every weekend in Denver. I mean, even after her first title fight, I was in Vegas. That next Saturday, she fought Friday. Saturday, I was in a bar in Denver coaching some of our amateurs. I just every weekend just coaching. So, Pat put me in with her right away, and we just had a great instant connection, and she had a trust. And more importantly, she's going to trust who Pat tells her to trust. And so she put a trust in me, and it's worked out really well.
Right. So before we go to Rose and, talking about JJ, I wanted to ask you about rolling with mixed martial artists and pure jiu-jitsu, practitioners. What's the difference for you?
Oh, the tenacity and sense of urgency, I mean, I personally think sport jiu-jitsu guys are scary because of the patience. Like, jiu-jitsu is more of, red light, green light.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be careful, run red lights, you'll get run over. In MMA, you just do it. You're looking both ways, and you run red lights sometimes. You just do it. Right. And in jiu-jitsu, you just don't. You're just not a smart way to live. So, the athleticism with, the wrestlers, the wrestlers get most of the rap in grappling. And I'm going to say it because they're the best athletes. There is no other avenue for combat athletes.
Right.
But I don't always deal with the best athletes in jiu-jitsu, So through MMA, you get all the wrestlers too. So I got a lot of different All-Americans. Got to work with Justin Wren, who's national champion. He actually broke my scapula in a freak accident grappling with him. Okay. Heavyweights, but now I've learned to stay in my lane, and that's MMA grappling. You would never break a scapula in jiu-jitsu grappling. Like, it's really rare, but MMA grappling's off the wall. It's different terminology. Like, Pat in the corner, I'm yelling at Rose or at JJ and Rose, whoever, we yell, bite her neck. Pat yelling, punch her in the back of the head, put her in the dead spot. I mean, this is all different kinds of instructions that you wouldn't have in sport jiu-jitsu, and really, but mainly it's the athleticism and the sense of urgency. Which is better? It's tough to say, I mean, really, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, so dealing with other jiu-jitsu guys, I lose my advantage more so, so
okay.
MMA is tough. And then to leave it on this, there's two MMA guys, jiu-jitsu guys, okay? There's and Joe Daddy Stevens is a good example. He's an amazing grappler. I mean, the guy can tap anyone in the world. He's a black belt, legitimate black belt. Yeah. He used to be known for footlocks and guillotines. But there's other black belts that are just known to be good at everything. You know what I mean? And that's nothing diss to Joe at all. I wish I was known for two good things. You know what I mean? Like, he's known. But there's other guys just saying out there that are known for, you just can't prepare for them. Like, JJ's opponent, she looked good enough. I just had to watch her and say, okay, she's good everywhere. She's good everywhere. We're not just preparing for footlock. We're not preparing for guillotine, But right. That girl's a jiu-jitsu girl in MMA. So then there's a difference there as well. So anyways, great question, man. I haven't been asked that. That's a good one.
Right. And I remember watching Rose during a TUF days, and when she fought Carla Esparza, you could see something in Rose Namajunas at that point. You could see she's a future world champion, but there was that one thing missing in the game, and I thought it was the grappling aspect. So as you said, she was a white belt when she came to you, and now she's a world champion. So how has that journey been with Rose Namajunas?
It's interesting because she was a white belt, but remember, she did a flying armbar in Invicta.
Yeah.
And all her submissions in the show were submissions. I mean, when she called me from the show and said that she won the show, I was like, what? Like, really? And she tapped everybody. I was like, that's amazing, Rose. And it was a Kimura, but if you notice, she did it all off her back.
Yeah.
All her grappling was off her back. And once the Esparza fight happened, my job was to switch it because my life is jiu-jitsu. I've run a gym 10 years. I can't live off my back, man. I'm 160 pounds. Like, I have to be on top. You have to be on top. It's good to be on your back. I lived on my back for years. But she kind of established that. It was to turn her and use her athleticism, to get on top and use her jiu-jitsu on top and the space control on top. And she it was hard for her to kind of do it because we had to go to Greg Nelson, who's a legend, and get her blue belt test. So she got her blue belt through Greg. I put her in a jiu-jitsu tournament here, and she took third, and Kat Zingano took first.
Okay.
And then another black belt was in it. So it was like, a white belt is taking third. She's tapping girls. People are booing me on Twitter because I'm the one standing next to her, So I had to call up Greg and just ask him what he needed to do. And we had to go through the self-defense stuff, which is good. And then she went and got her belt with him and then was basically like, I'm probably not going back there. Nothing against him. She loves him. And, so I took that opportunity and said, all right. And then for the first year, if not longer, but the first year, I wouldn't teach her anything. We would just grapple. I would just make her because that's just decision-making. As many decisions we can make in the hour. And, and be real fluent so she gets this base. She's impossible. She's like King Crab. She's hard to sweep because she's so long in the way that she moves. And let her develop into her own artist rather than making her a structural, ABC, which she's really good at learning that way. She wants to learn that way. But it's better to be artistic with it, open up your game, and let your natural attributes and athleticism. I mean, she makes up stuff. There's something on my Instagram where she made up a neck crank. And she uses it all the time. She got dirty moves too. They're not like neck cranks. But yeah, it's been quite a journey with her. Watching her get better, she is a legit brown belt, legit, and truly probably a black belt. I mean, she was a white belt for 7 years by the time I got my hands on her. So she sat at blue and purple not very long. I brought in one of the best girls in the world, Talita Alencar. Have you ever heard of her?
Yeah.
She's a jiu-jitsu world champion at 115. She came in, stayed at 303 for a while, and lived at my house with my wife and my kids. And she was a purple belt Abu Dhabi champ. And I put her and JJ and Rose up against her. And really orders of Talita to take them out. And they were all purple belts at the time. And, man, I'll just say JJ and Rose both held their own, especially Nogi. Really well held their own. So well that Talita's a world champion black belt. They're still brown belts. So that's why with JJ going into this fight with his purple belt, it was like, well, I've seen JJ against world-class Brazilian purple belts. She held her own. So, we felt good about it. So I feel real good about the belts. They're both a little ways from the black. They just are. It sucks because they don't have time to learn a lot of the things you should know at black belt. Like some of the crazy De La Riva guards and stuff we just got to streamline. We don't have time. I don't have time to get into some of that stuff with her, unfortunately. She has boxing and wrestling and conditioning as well.
Right, so just
I'm sorry?
Two things from what you said. The first thing is you've rolled with wrestlers and jiu-jitsu practitioners. Wrestlers are often comfortable when they're in the top position. But as you said, jiu-jitsu practitioners, they're very comfortable when they're on the back. Does that kind of give the jiu-jitsu guys some advantage when it comes to MMA? Because more often than not, you find yourself on your back when in the grappling aspect of it.
Yeah, the philosophy is you are going to be on your back no matter who you are, I feel. Even a wrestler, then it's how are you getting up is the question. And some of the things that a lot of times people that are not jiu-jitsu try to do is they try to just get up. And Dwayne had a terrible habit of this, unfortunately, Ludwig, because he's a good grappler, actually. He's a legitimate grappler. He's a purple belt, as I saw, but he would just try to get up. Because all his coaches always told him, if you're down, get up, just get up. And that makes you susceptible and an easier target. So jiu-jitsu practitioners, they're taught to be too comfortable on the back. They'll stay there a little bit. A good example would be Watterson against Rose.
Yeah.
She shouldn't be trying to stay on her back, trying to throw arm bars. Her corner actually yelled at her, arm bar her. She can't do nothing. And then Rose dropped an elbow. Boom! It's like right there, they lost all faith in the corner. Of course she can do something. She is on top, and she knows about the guard. There's no surprises anymore. People know how to beat up the guard,
Yeah.
So the idea that we always have conceptually, and Rose, JJ, whoever else comes out of 303, is attack first and get up. Attack by getting up. You attack with a sweep. You attack with a leg lock. You attack with an arm lock. There's certain streamlined attacks that are going to switch angles that make it harder for people to punch you. Those are the attacks we're looking at. This is 2018. Like, we're trying to coach at a higher level of understanding what is the guard. And there is no open guard. You don't have an open guard. That's not like jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu, you can pass with your face really close down by the legs. You can't do this in MMA. You have to be like this.
Yeah.
It changes how you play guard. It changes how you pass. It changes a lot of things. So some of it we don't feel like it's secretive, but we're like, I don't know, nobody sharing this stuff? We don't understand. Like, a lot of people still are locked up in certain ways. So jiu-jitsu MMA is going to change. And to me, one of my goals is getting the athletes now doing jiu-jitsu at a young age, so we can compete with the wrestlers. You know, give me an All-American and let me have them for 10 years doing jiu-jitsu year-round. And then let's see him grapple in Olympian wrestling. He'll choke him out. You know, he's gonna choke. We have the same athleticism. Jiu-jitsu is the better grappling art. It always has been. What the problem with wrestlers, if they don't want to go to the ground, they never have to. They'll beat you up. They'll make you stand up with them. They can't take them down. It's impossible if they want it to be. So, it's great. It's a great question, but jiu-jitsu MMA is changing. Jiu-jitsu on top. That's what we want.
Okay.
I just wanted to go back to Rose. We're talking about her progression, her journey. Tell us about UFC 217, when she won the belt. What an incredible night that was. For the whole card was unbelievable, and then particularly the Rose fight was something special.
Yes. It's like one of those moments in time you look back, and it really was magical, man. I've always dreamed of being part of, like, you see the Broncos Super Bowl, and you're a Bronco fan, and I see how they all celebrate. I'm like, man, I wish I could have been a part of that, because you feel it. But I wish I could have been a part of that, and you are a part, but what's it like to be on the field, And when she won it the first time, that was magical. It was really, like, surreal. We didn't know how to handle it. I'm sure you heard her, but we were in the airport like 2 hours later. Our plane didn't leave for like 4 hours. I mean, we literally felt like we robbed New York. Like, there were many interviews that I had calling this for a long time that Rose knew how we had her game, and they'd edit it out. They're like, this guy is ridiculous. Like, Rose ain't even close to her, but Joanna never fought a striker, not one. She was so, and look, she's a great champion. She really is, and there's no going back from her. But at the time, she was facing Valentina 22 weeks in a row. She is not as good a striker as Valentina was. Very close, not the same. Valentina's bigger and stronger. And Valentina's grappling game, before everyone saw it last time, was ridiculous. Like, that girl's a black belt. She Ezekiel choked somebody in competition in 2004. That's when I started jiu-jitsu. Girl did that in competition in 2004. So Rose dealt with her striking, grappling, like 22 weeks in 2017. Dude, we knew we were going to win it. Before that, we felt good. Now, you never really know. But we were that confident going into that one. And into the second one, there was a moment in the second one that, and we'll get that in a minute, but the first one that we couldn't wait. I mean, we just couldn't wait. We just knew what Joanna was going to do, and we felt good Rose was going to respond correctly. And the goal was, when you knock her down the first time, Rose, don't worry. Don't chase her too much. You'll get her again, guaranteed. Because you got the formula. You cracked the toe. Once you got the toe cracked, it's on, and it was perfect like that. And Joanna, they definitely looked like a fluke. She did it 303 in the first round, and so immediate rematch, and we went right back into camp. But we've been camping on Joanna for years. We knew that the top level was a Muay Thai striker.
Yeah.
We needed American boxing, and we needed it bad. We needed to know how to fight going backwards, and we needed to use top jiu-jitsu, and we needed to get very tight on clinch work. And after the Carolina mishap, really learned to grow from there. So we felt so good about it when it happened. It still felt like robbery, because it was like, things don't always work out like that, And she, the way she knocked her out, she never had a knockout. Strawweights don't knock people out like that anyway. Yeah. Like, that's, people want to say Andrade has power. Nobody. I've never seen anybody get clipped that hard in the strawweight division. Rose, though, we had her boxing, what's her name? Michaela Myers, She's a bantamweight Olympian boxer.
Yeah.
Way better than Joanna. I'm sorry, just like hand speed. She fights going backwards. You could tell, Joanna, nothing to take away from her, but she just hadn't fought a striker yet. Even I'd like to see her even fight an Angela Hill, just somebody that understands striking. Keisha really bummed me out that she went for just takedowns to win that. We could open up that can of worms if you want too, but the first fight with Joanna, and Pat has said it before, autopilot. Sometimes you go into a fight and you don't have to think, everything's off. Bang. Other times you have to manually say duck, jab, right hand. The whole fight is manual. And Rose went into autopilot that first fight, without a doubt. And it's still magical. Like nothing will ever top that, for me at least. That is just incredible.
Did the whole lead up to that fight make it even more magical? The fact that obviously Joanna was a bit controversial in how she was approaching the face-offs and what she was coming out with, that must have made it extra special.
Yeah, and it was. And the fact that Rose could have talked all the shit she wanted at that point, and she yells, be a good person. I mean, that's the moment you're in front of New York, you could just tell them off, and that was all Rose. Up until there, she had 3 40-year-old men saying, don't worry about it, this woman is full of shit. The more she talks, and you say nothing, the matter she's going to get. Watch. And we would just say what's going to happen. She would do it. Watch. She's going to start yelling at Pat. Watch. She's going to start to say something here. I mean, all the way up into Madison Square Garden before the fight, she said something weird like, did you buy him a ticket? Like, we're like, she talked about Satan? Who is she talking about? Like, she is beyond creepy at this point. And is this an act? There's no cameras now. Like, why is she this obsessed? Like, Gollum. And it's just, for the most part, it was just like Rose had people to lean on, and it was hard. Your name's Thug Rose. You're supposed to talk shit back. Like, we have Thug Rose. I see her in the gym. This girl went and showed up against Valentina every day, right? She didn't have to. She showed up. Valentina didn't train with women at all. We're like, give Rose a chance. And then Valentina hit some elevation, and Rose did really well. And they came back every day after Rose and adjusted to the elevation, and it was great. But I'm just saying, it was like, this is Thug Rose. She is not really that intimidating. How do we keep her quiet? How do we keep her cool? The more we do that, the more it's affecting Joanna, the better off we are. And we took it personal mostly when she was saying that Rose doesn't get on social media and stuff like that. Because the second fight, we wanted to make a condition that she, and this would have been stupid, but she don't get on social media so much. Take it serious. We want a real fight. We want to see the real Joanna. We want to see that pale, crusty, Joanna. That's what we want to see. You don't want to see this tan on the boat, talking about nutrition and posting every 2 seconds. Joanna, that's not the one we wanted to fight. And so the second fight, we got the second one. We got a wrist, just a little tanner, but that was good. That was definitely the best Joanna we've seen in a while. We knew it too when we saw her. We were like, oh, yep, this was the one that we were waiting for. So, yeah, and then the redemption. You want to talk about the second one? The redemption of her being able to do it, of just not redeeming is not the right word, but just validating really what she had done the first time. And what for me was even more special about the second one than the first one was the first one was so special because Rose did something that we did not expect entirely. I mean, just she beat Joanna in a way Joanna's never beat nobody. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I've said this before, but if you go back to Rose, she uses people's attributes against them. I mean, nobody beats Tisha on a decision. Rose beats on a decision. She kicks the karate hottie in the head. Paige is known for hip tossing people and beating them up. That's what Rose does to her. All her fights, she has the ability to. Even if you go back to Angela Hill before she chokes her out, she's got her so frustrated with her head movement, Angela can't find her. She can't punch her. She's like confused, and then she gets choked out off of, just overcommitted. So she always takes on these attributes and gets better. And that's what she did to Joanna in the last one. She beat Joanna in a war at Joanna's own game. She did that. And that was super satisfying. The only thing that would have been more satisfying is we wanted to choke her out. We did. But that woman is hard to get a hold of. And we know how to beat her there, too. You want me to tell you? We know that we studied a long time. And that's why we're mad at Tisha. You're to ask us, man. She trained with us a lot. And we don't cry. She has her own coaches. But even her last Saturday, she can. And I love you, Tisha. I don't know if she watched it or not, but the game plan can't be take Joanna down. Because everybody that does that, as she's getting up, she's elbowing you in the head,
right,
beating you up. So you try to take her down, you fail, and on the way up, you got hit 4 times. This just kills your momentum after a while. So the takedown, there's no momentum. Even if you get her down, you're getting hit, you're getting punished, she gets away scot-free. So the thing is if you take her down, let her up, re-engage and punch her. Keep doing that, if you can even get her back. So, or as you're going for the takedowns, make her defend, breaking. You've got to win the little wars with her to win round by round. And Tisha's crazy. That was awesome what she's doing. I was like, what heart? Like, that is 3 rounds. You need 5 rounds if you're going to do that game plan anyway, and that's even hard. So, anyway, love Tisha, buddy. Yeah, man, it's been fun. These women, and that's the thing. It's the women. Like, I had the men all over the place, but we got phenomenal women. And I compare JJ and Rose to, I don't know, any 2 great duos you could ever have. Like, it's truly incredible. And we're going to run into a problem, obviously. They're both 115ers. So, hopefully JJ actually is a 25er. We cut from 157 for this last fight for JJ.
Wow.
So, yeah. So we didn't even think she was going to make it. We actually kicked her out of camp for the first 4 weeks. We're like, man, if you showed up to an NBA camp, 30 pounds overweight, and it's not her fault. She has thyroid. It was not totally her fault, but they would fine you or tell you to leave. So we had like 13 weeks or something before the fight when it got announced. So we told her, come back in 4 weeks and come back at this certain weight before we even start camp. And then we start camp with the fight handling. And the phrase I use on Instagram, nobody uses, and it's just you got 2 coaches and a captain, and you get handled. Everything gets handled.
Right. So before talking about, sorry, please go on.
No, I'm done. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So before talking about the Polyana fight, I wanted to bring up, as you said, the Carolina fight with Rose Namajunas.
Yeah.
Again, there was something that was missing because Carolina was kind of too strong in the clinches. She knew how to either keep Rose at a distance or how to close the distance and completely negate her dirty boxing. So what did you change at that point from that fight to Rose's next fight?
Well, at that fight, that was the only fight that we didn't have Pat in the corner. Now, Pat's not going to be the result of why she would win or lose, but it's going to give you a little sign of what's going on in the personal life of Rose at that time. I mean, we truly did not have a real camp for that. And not to use that as an excuse, Carolina is the strongest 150. Andrade is going to have a problem. If you're better, I don't know what the odds are on that, but Andrade is not going to muscle her around. That girl's a strong-boned Eastern European. And she was very strong. Now, in the fight, we did not believe those body shots were too bad. Like, they did exhaust her, but in a very subtle way in the corner. Like, they looked worse on TV. When I watched it, I was like, oh, my gosh. But live, when we were there, we could tell they're like partially blocked a little bit. They just looked a little worse. Rose, we even asked her how you doing. She was fine, but truly, she wasn't fine. I mean, her and Pat had been not together for a while at that point in time, and he was like still involved, like calling, FaceTiming me. We're still trying to get advice. She actually moved into a house I owned and wasn't living there, and Pat was training with Brock Lesnar and got kicked out of that camp for reasons that he's explained on a podcast. But there was a lot going on. And then we switched the clinch. Like when we got back to Pat, we went back to what we would do in the clinch with Angela Hill. And what we would do with Angela Hill was a completely different game plan than what we were doing with Carolina. And we needed to go back to what Pat was doing. What we were using was Justin Gaethje. And it was great, but it was really wrestler-based. And it was not set up good to deal with Muay Thai clinches. And, when you got Pat Barry that is no 6-time world champion himself, he gets what's going on in the clinch. And he's our clinch guy. And, I mean, I'm lucky. I got world champion kickboxer and a world champion boxing coach that I coach with, So the clinch, when it's striking, is really Pat's. And instead we had a grappler running. And, it kind of taught us a lesson about how important a chemistry of a team is. And yeah, I thought that might be our last fight ever with Rose. Me, because I'm very close to Pat. I don't know where else. Like I talked to who was it? Mendez up in Cali, and there was a moment there where she might have gone back to them, the team she was with, at the time of the show, But they're crazy. One time she ran off to New Mexico and was with Jackson's. I had to go to Jackson's and go get her. I talked to Jackson. I was going to join Jackson's. And Jackson was cool as shit. He was just like, yeah, you can still coach her. She just is here. I was like, ah. But, they had some issues. They seemed like they'd really worked all that stuff out. And with the team chemistry, we get a cheat, man. I got a coach that's like inside her house. How's she feeling, man? She's tired, or whatever. It's a real advantage. So hopefully, that works out.
Do we know what's next for Rose?
Well, we wanted to do Denver, man, and they're having the 25th anniversary here of the UFC, and Pepsi Center sold out last time they were here, but they did it a Fox card. So it's like, we're pay-per-view finally, and Rose needs the pay-per-view money. So it's like, dang it, why'd you guys do a 25th anniversary for Fox? That should be like one of the biggest UFC cards. So they kind of dropped the ball. And so we might think about JJ being on that card because it's local, but Rose, it's like, now it's like, I'm not sure. We definitely want to fight the winner of Andrade Carolina, and but yeah, so looking at that fight, and maybe by November, whatever the UFC card is on November, the pay-per-view, but that's what we'd like to see. And being champ's a different vantage point, obviously. Like when you're not champ, you're like, you're just training whoever they give me next.
Yeah.
So I want to get the champ. When you're champ, you get to scout everybody. You get to scout the whole division. Way before anybody gets to pick you, you already get to study them. So we've been studying the division, and we see the people that are coming up. Right now, it's not that exciting. There's not that many people that we're really too worried about, that it's not even worried about. It's like, we want Rose to be excited about the fight. That's why we're always saying we want the toughest fighter. We want the pale Joanna. We need to get Rose motivated to make sure she still wants to do this, and so there's not a lot of exciting fights. Andrade bugs her because I can tell it's getting under her skin because everyone thinks Andrade will just throw her around or something. No disrespect to Andrade, but we're like, dude, there are a couple straight punches is going to change her on how she's coming and approaching. And if she does slam Rose, it's like slamming King Crab around. She's going to have arms and legs wrapped all around her. Like, that's not a good idea. And so it's an interesting fight, and we respect her, and that's it. But I think Carolina's going to beat her, and then we would like to see that fight again. And rematches suck. They're not exciting for us. But at the same time, that one. We wanted Carla to win because then we're like, we'll do the revenge tour.
Yeah.
Her and then Carla. But Carla's got Tatiana, and Tatiana is tough. Tatiana is scary. Tatiana is the one I see coming up in the next 3 to 4 fights, if not sooner. And that's in the topic of conversation. We'll see how she does against Esparza, but hopefully her striking's improved. Last time I seen her striking was down. It's people improve fast in this game these days.
Right. So
yeah, I don't know the topic of that, but
right. So just talking about Polyana's fight with JJ. Again, as you said, Polyana really good grappler, JJ really good kickboxer. How did that kind of? Can you talk about the lead up to the fight? How was the training camp? What did you focus on for Polyana?
It was very interesting because I've been camping on Joanna, a 6-time world champion kickboxer, for the last 6 months. So for me to get to dive into a grappler is great because all our camps, we always focus on making them better. So the opponent will give us an excuse. For example, Joanna is a kickboxer. It gave us a really good excuse for a lot of footwork, a lot of head work to make Rose that much better. When you get to fight a purist jiu-jitsu girl like Polyana, then it's like, wow, I get to dive into my specialty. And it's great being on this side of the coin. Now, first of all, it's an insult. JJ is a brown belt. Yeah. Polyana is a purple belt. Okay, so psychologically, even if Polyana was better, tournament better jiu-jitsu grappler, let's just say she was 22-time state champ. And that's, of course, JJ's amateur fighter of the year in Colorado, 2010, 2012, 2013, blue belt state champ. Polyana's world champ, at blue belt at purple, like not a black belt. So it's like she's good, but psychologically, I know she knows when she gets JJ down, she's still dealing with a higher belt, period. So, anyway, she's confident. I've been on the other side of this as the grappling coach to where we have to take the person down to win. That's terrible, man. That's the worst. And that's really what Rose was turning into. Like, she's submitting it. Like, I told her, I can't wait till you're knocking people out. I can't wait till we evolve past that, So, anyways, oh, my gosh, I started getting way off here. Hold on just a sec. Turn my car on. I'm going to kill my battery here. All right. Sorry. All right. Anyway, so dealing with Polyana as a grappler, was easy. If she has to take us down, then she only has one way to win. We, on the other hand, all I have to do is discourage her from doing that. So with JJ, we worked a ton of guillotines, and in the camp, guillotine defenses, pulling guard. That Poliana pulled guard in 10 fights. I mean, who does that? I had to go look at it. I was like, are you sure? Who does that? Who we fighting so in 2005? That girl is talented. I believe she was 2 fights away from actually, going and challenging Rose. They were really excited about her. Her manager was sitting next to Sean Shelby. We knew we were set up for a hit the minute we were on the pay-per-view. We're like, JJ's on the pay-per-view. Who is this girl? How good is she? 10 first-round finishes. That's incredible. I don't know anybody that's done that and submitted them. And Jacare didn't do that. So we really respect it. But the bottom line is she has to get her to the ground. And to me, it was – so I told everybody, bet on JJ. Instantly, bet on it. That's crazy. Just going styles and what we're dealing with, there's no way. The JJ, first-round pick on Joanna. Joanna picked her first. She's Joanna's number 1 sparring partner for Claudia Gadelha because the girl is gangster on the feet and on the ground. Rose's training partner, who is a gangster grappler and used to see that. This girl has been around the world champion for the past 5 years. Not every day, basically. So we felt really good about it. There was no doubt. JJ was so confident that looking back, it was like, man, we were really supposed to lose that fight. We really weren't supposed to win it. And then 303 people are even a little critical. Well, you could have finished it. It's well, yeah. Let's look at it this way. $19,000 is on the line for JJ. The girl is poor. She has the poorest car you've ever seen. If you ever talk to her, ask her to show her. Oh, she's just a humble person. She gets overexcited. She's lost her fights by getting too excited, and she's been submitted because of it. This girl in particular, and Pat Barry called it best, is like a snake, man. She would act like she's hurt and then lure you in because her striking is so bad that you would try to take her out and she'd get her hands on you and choke you out or armbar you, or you have multiple different ways. So JJ screws up in round 2, man. She does. If you watch it again, she goes for the biggest left hook you've ever seen. She tries to take her out. For the first time, she's like, you know what? I'll finish her. You can sense it. You can finish this girl. She goes and she misses, gets her back taken. In all camps, she never escaped back. I put my meanest brown belt. I put a 4-time state champ I have on her, wrestler. I mean, just hold her, and she never got out. So that wasn't the point. We were hoping that she would have got out, but it helped us drill on why she wasn't getting out. When she got there, she played perfect. She got back right away. She never solidified the back position, Poliana. That's super discouraging to her. Then she got to a 3-quarter mount, which she's really good at creating space and starting to punch, actually. And JJ started doing my stiff arm move, actually, from half guard. And you see JJ put her hand in the armpit of her, and she stretches her out. And all it's meant to do is give her space. She uses that space to get her own leg lock sweep, which is our open guard stuff, and sweeps her, passes her guard to half guard. I think it's the first round, and then the second round. It's incredible, man. So the better grappler, no, she really was. JJ on top is really a beast. She's hard to deal with. She's always been that way. And so we felt good. Now, that to the credit, though, that girl, boy, she's sticky. And we knew she's a problem so much that we didn't try to pass. And Joe Rogan and them actually kind of bummed me out because they said, Poliana is tired. No, she was mentally discouraged. Because here's a fact in the guard. I don't know if you guys train much jiu-jitsu, but it doesn't matter who is on their back. It could be world champion, this or that. Right? If their hips are on the mat, they cannot armbar you. They cannot triangle. It's a fact. If your hips are on the mat. So you've got to keep their hips on the mat. Both elbows in, both elbows out. Keep their hips on the mat. If you do this and can weather a few punches, they don't have nothing. And you have to open your guard. We'd like to see JJ punch a little bit there. Shave the head punch. We gave her an A grading instead of an A+. Because we practiced that exact scenario. Hey, do not. We respected enough. They've seen this girl submit enough people. She pulled guard to get there as her last desperate attempt. At 3 minutes left, that's plenty of time to work. But she opens it herself because there's nothing there. MMA jiu-jitsu, guard, armbar, triangle. That's it. Maybe a guillotine. She goes for all 3, but not the triangle. She's looking for everything. Nothing's there. She has to open it. JJ diffused the problem is what happened. High IQ is what it was. And future JJ, yes, we got to go for the finish. If that was Rose, we would have pushed it to the finish. There was a time Rose wasn't allowed to kick. JJ only threw one kick in that fight. She's Taekwondo background. If you watch her first ever fight, all she does is kick. So that's how much we've turned her around. Is she's going to be allowed to kick again. But just to give you an example, Rose wasn't allowed to kick until the water stand. Now, this isn't me. This is her boxing coach, her striking coach. They're not allowed to kick. The first time she got all her tools, allowed to use them, was the water stand. All right, you're good. You can kick. And she kicks her in the head. It's like, but, it was a karate fight. So we knew, we're like, you got to let her do her karate. This is what Rose is, that's where she came from originally. So, yeah, we loved it. We felt really good about it. And JJ deserved it. She had this weird superstition. She kept losing her third fights. And we at 303 have never won in LA. We've actually been choked out 2 times we've been there, out cold, JJ being one of them in Invicta. So we had some demons to overcome, and like I said, players make coaches, and JJ literally executed the game plan perfectly. Striking, everything, patient, everything we wanted to see,
Right.
I just wanted to ask you about UFC last time it was in New York, the Conor McGregor incident. I guess you were on the bus. Tell us what that experience was like. That must have been pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was, and I don't know if we're still dealing with it a little bit. Actually, I know involved with everybody on the bus. Rose adrenaline dumped something terrible, and we could almost attribute some of that to her performance, right after the fight, she had said, I felt tired. I didn't feel sorry, guys. She says, I didn't feel like. And it's like, yeah, you thought you were going to die the day before. Now, just to bring back a little bit, we were at a club after Valentina's fight, and some guy came and shot up at the club we were at with Rose. And it was a very traumatic experience for Rose, and me too. And it was one of those situations, we were trapped in the car, and the guy pulls out a gun and starts shooting in the club. And we don't know if he's killing people or not, right? So we're like, if he sees us, is he going to shoot us, So there's a little bit of that with the contact. It felt, again, like that. Like somebody was attacking us, like we were trapped, that sort of thing. And for me, when I first noticed it was him, though, it was almost surreal. I was like, Conor McGregor is attacking the bus. Really saw his head pop up. That's Conor McGregor. I said, wow, that did look like Conor McGregor. And we thought just the fight was breaking out. Next thing you know, there's glass breaking. Michael Chiesa is bleeding. Then the front window's breaking. In the Barclays Center, the bus can't leave. Like, you have this system where it goes down, right? And then the bus has to go up and through a garage, and then it lets you out into the street. So we really were just stuck there. And, they come from the, it's like somebody trying to throw something in the bus. Like, why are they trying to break the windows? And then these guys are not, and I don't know how much I can really talk on it because I don't know what's going on with it, but it looked like a bunch of Irish gangsters, not MMA guys. MMA guys don't get on the bus and go all the way to, New York. And maybe, but to do what they were doing, it was not that. And I don't know. Have you guys ever heard the story about Lebov's buddy in Russia? The story
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he got shot in the face with a rubber bullet.
Yeah.
Right. And then they grabbed Lebov in the hotel. So the other story is, and this is just my brain, none of this is, but I'm like, remember when Conor had that problem with the Irish mob? There's rumors, right? Yeah. Now I got some Irish family too, mostly Sicilian, but Ireland's 4 million people maybe?
Yeah.
You think you're going to kill? I mean, they want him to be with them. They're not going to kill him. They're not going to mess with him. He's their guy, man. That just gave them a reason to hang with him. So I don't trust, now to put it that way, who's coming attacking the bus. And that's where our line of thinking is this more serious than just them trying to get a publicity stunt? He looked drugged out like a madman, and the guys with him looked very intimidated. So definitely traumatic. I come from situations where I've been jumped, my hands crippled, like I've been in bad spots, and that had all the symptoms of something really awful, And it looks like New York dropped the charges, and I don't know if other people will be pressing charges or what that's going to turn into. But it's been a nonstop distraction, I'll tell you that, since it happened. But it'd be like if Michael Jackson attacked your camping tent. Right, what do I do? Like, should I sue Michael Jackson for that? Like, do I go camping again? Like, do we want to ride the bus anymore? Like, we didn't ride the bus on JJ's fight. We took Ubers and stuff. We're like, no, thanks. We don't. But now, if you're not safe in the Barclays Center, then where are you safe? So it's it just kind of adds to all the drama of what we've had in New York. You know, the both times we've been there, it's been pretty hectic. So it's cool. He's fighting Khabib now, so they'll make money now. Like, I'm sure they'll bring it up even more. We'll see more of it. But yeah, I do like Conor. I mean, as far as what he does, for the most part, everybody knows who he is. Everybody. I took an Uber to LA. The guy didn't know nothing about MMA, but he knew about Conor and he knew about the busting. I was like, what the hell? Like, everybody knows him and Ronda, you know. So for that, I'm thankful. But other than that, you know, I'll leave it at this. I don't want him to set an example for these other young dudes to act this way, man. I don't want to go to the UFC anymore. If now I got to worry about gang disputes amongst fans, like that's what it is. I'll stay and teach jiu-jitsu in Denver. I don't need to go out and do that. That's fine. We're fine. I'm fine. I've been doing this thing for free for the most part up until hit the jackpot with Rose and JJ and some of these other talented fighters, you know. So hopefully people will act more like Rose than the whole Conor incident. A little bit of both ain't bad though.
I think that made Rose's performance even more special. The fact she managed to overcome that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You know, just one more thing to add to it. And Joanna, you know, like in that fight, it was like she looked like she was USADa'd up, man. I mean, she walked by us when we were waiting to shoot, and we, like I said, I told you, we thought we had her number no matter what, both times. Honestly, even though it was fight, not that we're gonna knock her out. We're like, it's gonna be ugly this time. There's gonna have to be a different type of painting we're gonna have to picture here, but you know, we got her. We know we do. But dude, we're waiting to come out. And it's taking forever to playing all the video stuff. And then Joanna comes out first, right? Because we're the champ. And we're sitting in the bullpen. And as she comes by, she stops and looks at us and looks at Rose and gives her a finger. And you veins coming out of her shoulder and neck. And I was like, dang, do you really think she's going to win still? Like, how do you get knocked out 4 months ago and are that ferocious still? That, you can tell she worked hard. It was like, okay. Yeah, this one's going to be tough. And then before that fight, Rose was just like, it's not turning on. It's not turning on, Pat. It's not turning on. And she first was just saying it to Pat. I didn't know she was saying it. And she was scared. Like I said, there's autopilot. And then there's like, duck, jab, right. You know, she was in that mode. She was having to tell herself what it was. So she told Pat, and I didn't know. And Pat started to yell at her, man. I've never seen him so aggressive with her before fighting. You know, and it wasn't yelling at her, but he was just, you know, extra on her. Extra. We all get on her a little bit at the time. This was like one of these times where it was like, what's wrong? Is there something wrong? Is she hurt? What's wrong? What's going on? Why are we doing this now? Like, why, you know? And he got her out of it, man. He snapped her out of it. He got right in her face, man, and said some pretty inspirational things, and she snapped out of it. And she still was in manual the whole fight. She still, afterwards, she remembers having to go, flat. Oh, that leg kick, I should move. You know, it was just a different kind of fight. But prepared for that, honestly, the whole time we were waiting for that war. And Rose had never been cut, so we were really interested to see what would happen with that. Like, she really wouldn't cut that. I'm talking a little bloody nose. She never gets hit. So we didn't know if she could survive adversity. And we knew the champ had those two things. She survived adversity, and she has experience. Other than that, we had her beat on everything. Rose run faster, ride a bike faster, swim further, faster, jump higher, cook better. I'm telling you. She got her beat on everything. But you can't be experienced. And how do you come back from adversity? And Rose did both of that because she did have to come back, you know, definitely from one of the fourth round, I believe, to come back and win that fifth. And she did it, man. It was really impressive.
Absolutely.
It was a great night. You must be very proud. It's been amazing you having you on this podcast. Thank you very much. It's been great listening to you.
My honor. Yeah, my honor. Anytime you guys want to have me. So, are you guys ever in the States? You know, you ever in Colorado? Come down to the UFC. What is it? 225? Yep. 25th anniversary? No. Well, I don't know which number it is, but if you're ever in Colorado, come down to 303. We're a little neighborhood dojo. We have a live belt sitting there. It's ridiculous. So we have little kids that are 4 years old, the mailman, you know, everybody, you name them, and wrestling programs, but it's a neighborhood dojo, man. And I run it all, so everybody is me and Pat is a very laid back and really fun time, man. So if you're ever in Colorado, you have to come by our gym and check it out and be my guest around Denver too.
Oh, you definitely will.
Brilliant. Definitely will. So thank you so much, Tony, for taking the time. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to talking to you again very soon.
Great. Anytime,
Okay.
guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you so much, sir. Have a good day.
You too.